Hi, it's John Voot, and this lesson is on You Do Something to Me by Paul Weller from Trinity Rock and Pop Drums, Grade 4. So looking at the sheet music in the book, you've got the song title at the top of the page there. Beneath it, you can see it says intro in the box there, just so you know the first section of the song we're going to be playing is an intro. And then beneath that, you've got the style or genre of the piece. So this says soulful rock. So it's a rock piece, but it's soulful. So there's a lot of feel and emotion in it, okay? So we need to bring that into our playing when we play this song. And then beside that, it says a quarter note equals 75. So that's the tempo of the piece. So we've got 75 quarter note beats per minute. So it's a kind of slow medium tempo. And then beside that it says 2 bars counting in brackets, just letting you know when you play it with the backing track, there's going to be 2 bars of counting before the track starts. Okay, so looking at the first bar of music, so you can see the percussion clef there, letting you know it's percussion notation on this stave. And then you got the time signature, 4/4. So 4 at the top tells us there's 4 beats in the bar. 4 at the bottom tells us the note value of a beat is a quarter note. So we've got 4 quarter note beats in the bar. Okay, so we're in common time, and in that first bar, you can see we've got a whole bar rest. So we're resting for the whole of the first bar. So no drums in the first bar. So we've just got to count that rest for the whole bar, and then we're coming in bar 2. So you can see we've got a ride cymbal rhythm in bar 2. So we've got quarter notes on the ride. So you're going to play that with your lead hand. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the first quarter note, on the 1 there, you've got 2 grace notes before it, which means we're going to be playing the rudiment, the drag. Okay, so we're going to be playing a drag on the 1. So you're going to be playing 2 grace notes with your weaker hand. So in my case, that would be the left hand, and then the primary note with your dominant hand. Okay, so in my case, the right hand. So we've got a right drag. So whichever hand's playing the primary note is which hand the drag is. So a right drag would be a right hand playing the primary note, which is landing on the downbeat. Okay, so make sure those grace notes are nice and tight to the downbeat. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then we play through quarter notes for the rest of the bar. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so be really precise with those downbeats. Hit right on each beat. And then beneath that bar, you've got MF, which is short for mezzo forte half loud. So you're coming in about your normal playing level. Okay, so we've got the 1 bar rest, then we're in with the drag on the first beat of the second bar, keeping those quarter notes on the ride. And in the next bar, bar 3, we play exactly the same thing we just played in bar 2. Moving into the next bar, bar 4. We play 3 more quarter notes for the first 3 beats on the ride cymbal, and then we got a short 1 beat fill. So we got 2 16th notes on the snare drums, that'd be 4E played right left, and then we got an and of 4 on the high tom or small tom, that'd be with the right hand. So that'd be 4E and. So right left right, and again we've got 2 grace notes before the downbeat. So we're going to play those grace notes with 2 lefts. Okay, the weaker hand left to play a right drag on the downbeat of 4. Play your left note on the E, right hand up to the and. So that 4th beat sounds like this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so remember you don't want your grace notes to affect the rhythm. So if you want to play just the rhythm first without the grace notes, just to hear the feel, okay, you can do that, and then make sure when you put the grace notes in, you're not affecting that rhythm. So you could play 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so those grace notes just embellish the rhythm. Okay, just gives the feel a bit more texture. Okay, so that bar with the ride cymbal quarter notes as well is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and we see a double bar line after that bar, letting us know we come to the end of that section, which is the intro. Okay, so that's the whole intro there, just 4 bars. So 1 bar rest, drag into the ride in bar 2, drag into the ride in bar 3, carry on with the quarter note rides in bar 4, end with a fill, and you drag into the fill as well, okay? So there's some nice texture in that first line in the intro, but it's mainly about just keeping time, being really sort of consistent with those downbeats. Okay, so hitting those quarter notes right on the downbeats. Okay, so we're going to try and put that intro together now, get a nice flow to that line at the right dynamic, mezzo forte, bring the soulfulness into this this piece, okay? So when you play these notes, make sure you're putting some emotion into them, okay? So you're feeling the emotion of the track. So let's try line 1 in time with a metronome, which is set at the song tempo, 75 beats per minute. So like I said, a fairly kind of slow medium tempo. So just make sure you aren't pushing the tempo. Really sort of find the tempo and make sure those quarter note downbeats are right on the tempo. Okay, so let's give that a try. And now we'll try that with the backing track. Okay, so we got a 2-bar counting. So you'll hear 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then make sure you rest for that first bar, and then we're in bar 2. Okay, so just like what you did without the backing track, you just want to make sure you're really precise with those downbeats. Okay, and you've got nice tidy drags. Okay, so make sure your rudiments are really nice and tidy. You're complementing the feel of the music, giving it that soulful feel. Okay, so let's try the intro in time with the backing track.
You do something to me.
So now we come to the next line of the piece, so line 2 and a new section of the song. So we're on to the verse now. So the verse starts at bar 5, so you can see it says verse set in a box above bar 5. So in the verse we've got a 1-bar groove and we've got slight variations of the groove throughout the verse. Okay, so the subdivision of the groove is 8th notes, so we're going to be playing the 8th notes with our lead hand on the ride cymbal. Okay, so we're going to groove on the ride, and we're actually grooving on the ride throughout the whole song. Okay, so no hi-hat groove in the song. So 8th notes on the ride cymbal with the lead hand, left hand plays a standard rock backbeat on 2 and 4. Okay, so you've got your fundamental rock set up there. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the bass drum rhythm, we've got a quarter note on the 1 and 8th notes on the 3. So you've got 1, 3 and on the bass. So we'll put that in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the fundamental 1-bar groove, okay, that you're going to be playing. And in the first bar, we've got some embellishments around that groove. So we've got a 16th note on the snare drum on the of 2, okay? And the note head is smaller because it's a ghost note. So a ghost note is just a quieter note. Okay, so you're just going to really bring down the volume of those ghost notes, all the notes with smaller note heads. Okay, so that first one on the of 2. So you've got the dotted 8th note playing the backbeat, okay, which is the loud snare note, and then you've got a 16th note playing the which is a quiet snare note, a ghost note. Okay, so remember, ghost notes want to be felt, not heard. Okay, so you don't want them popping out of the groove, but you want them to really complement the feel of the groove. Okay, so just dropping in the and we've also got an as a ghost note on the of 4 as well. Okay, so 2 snare drums to add in there, 2 ghost note snare drums, and the second ghost note on the of 4, you can see that Z there through the stem of the note, so that's telling us to buzz the note. So it's a ghost note, which means it's quiet, and it's also buzzed. So it's not a standard stroke, we actually press the stick into the head to get that buzz sound. Okay, so the first one is a normal ghost note on the of 2. Just a normal stroke, but a quieter one because it's a ghost note. And then the second 16th note, the of 4, a buzzed ghost note. Okay, so we're going to put those 2 notes in now. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so those little embellishments, those little bits of texture really give the groove some character and feel. Okay, so these little nuances in the groove are so great to add just to complement the feel of a groove. Okay, so you want to get that down, make sure you're feeling that, you're relaxed as you play it, you're really comfortable with those 2 ghost notes. Then moving into the next bar, we've got the same rhythm as that groove we just played, but now the snare drum note you played on the of 2 becomes a bass drum. Okay, so we're playing it on the bass. And then we've got that 16th note snare drum on the out of 4, again that ghost note, and this time it's not buzzed, this is the standard ghost note stroke. Okay, so in that next bar, bar 6, the groove sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so like I said, same rhythm, just slightly different orchestration, so it's a slight variation of the groove. Okay, so we'll try those back to back, those 2 bars, bars 5 and 6. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so just make sure you're comfortable with both bars individually, but also you can play them back to back. Okay, then in the next bar, you're playing exactly the same thing you just played in bar 6. Okay, so with the bass drum playing the ah of 2 and the snare drum ghost note on the ah 4. And then in the next bar, we just changed that up slightly. So in bar 8, we've got that ghost note on the out 4 played as a buzz stroke. Okay, so you just want to buzz that ghost note. So that bar 8 sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so a little buzz stroke at the end of the bar there. And the next bar, bar 9, you're going back to that original groove that we played in bar 5, but we just haven't got the buzz stroke on the out of 4. Okay, so that sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and in the next bar, bar 10, we're adding that buzz stroke back in on the out of 4. Okay, so that's the same bar that you played in bar 5. Okay, so moving on to the next line, so starting at bar 11, you've got the same groove that we played in bar 9. Okay, so those 2 ghost notes now with no buzz stroke. Okay, and then the next bar, which is bar 12, you're playing that same groove, but now you haven't got the note on the out of 4. Okay, so just finishing with that 8th note on the and of 4 there. So those 2 bars, bars 11 and 12, sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so make sure you don't fill that last beat in there in bar 12 with any 16th note snare drums. Okay, make sure you leave that just as an 8th note finish there. So then we come into the next line, which starts at bar 13. So in bar 13, you've got that same 1 bar groove that we played in bar 9. Okay, so you're going to play that, and then we've got 3 1-bar repeats for the rest of the line, okay, which means we play bar 13 another 3 times to play it 4 times for that line. And you can see there's a number 4 there in brackets above the 3rd 1-bar repeat, which would be the 4th time of playing the groove. Okay, so that's just a helpful cue. Okay, so obviously when we got 1-bar repeats, when we got a few of them, it's easy to lose track of them, but also when we're playing a groove and we're repeating the groove, we don't want to be reading the music for all of the repeats. Okay, we want to come away from the music and put our attention into how we're playing the notes. Okay, putting our soul into the feeling of the music. Okay, so if you read the 1-bar groove in bar 13 and you've got it down, you can see the repeats there. You can see with number 4. Eyes can come away from the music. You can play the groove, make it put the emotion in it that the song requires, that the music requires. And then you know when you're on the 4th bar, so you'll get that natural feeling that you're on the 4th bar. You can look back at the sheet music and know exactly where you are. Okay, so it's just these helpful cues to help you follow the music. And then we come into the next line, which starts at bar 17. We've got another 3 1-bar repeats. We play bar 13, another 3 times. And then we come into the next line, which is the final bar on that line, which is bar 20. So we've got a change up here. So in the first half of the bar, we carry on with 8th notes on the cymbal. So we're on the ride cymbal for the 1 and then we come across to the crash for the 2, back to the ride cymbal on the and of 2. So we've got 1 and 2 and then we've got a bass drum on the 1 for a 16th, snare drum on the E of 1 for another 16th note, and that snare drum is a normal stroke, it's not a ghost note. Okay, so we play that at normal volume. And then you've got a bass drum for a 16th on the and of 1 and another bass drum on the a of 1. Okay, so the bass and snare are playing 1, E and a. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, E and a. And then we crash on the 2, and that's played with the snare drum, which accentuates the backbeat. Okay, so that 2. And on ride, and then we've got a bass drum playing the a for a 16th note. So that second beat is 2 and a. So 1. Okay, so putting those two beats together, you got 1 E and A, 2 and A. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we move into a 2-beat fill, okay, for the next 2 beats. So you've got a snare drum on the downbeat of 3 for an 8th note. So we're going to play that left hand, and then we've got 2 16th notes on the high tom, playing and A of 3, okay? So we're going to play that both with right hand. So you've got a double stroke, and A. So that would be 3 and A, so hold the 8th note on the snare drum. So 1, 2, and then we've got a snare drum on a downbeat of 4 for a 16th note. So you're going to play that with the left hand. And then we've got 2 floor toms on the E and the and of 4. Okay, so a 16th and an 8th note. So you're going to play that right as well, another double stroke. So you've got left on snare, right on floor tom. So that'd be 4 E and. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so putting those 2 beats together, so beats 3 and 4, the rhythm is 3 and A, 4 E and, sticking left, right, left, right. Okay, so first snare drum on the 3 is an 8th note, second snare drum on the 4 is a 16th note. Okay, so you go up to the high tom after an 8th note, and then you go across the floor tom after a 16th note. Okay, so you got 1, 2. Okay, so putting that together with the first half of the bar, so we'll play the whole of bar 20 now. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and a bit slower, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the reason you play that sticking the fill is to stay nice and open. Okay, so if you played that snare drum right hand, then coming up to right, left, and then right, left, right, you kind of get a bit crossed up, okay, with that sticking. So that left double is a nice sticking pattern to keep you nice and open. Okay, so we don't get crossed over. Alright, so you can see the letter F there beneath the bass drum on the A of 2. So that is short for Forte, which means loud. So when you hit that bass drum on the A of 2, that's picking you up into that 2-beat fill where the dynamic increases to Forte. Okay, so you're at mezzo Forte for the first part of that bar, and then you change it to Forte as soon as you hit that bass drum on the A of 2. Okay, just to increase the energy. So bringing that dynamic change in, it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so make sure you bring that dynamic change in. So like I said, you need that to raise the energy into the next line. Okay, so you can see a double bar line at the end of that bar. Okay, so there's a musical change going into the next line. You can see it says hanging on the wire there above bar 20. So that's just the lyrics of the song at that point. So again, just a helpful cue. So when you hear those lyrics, you know exactly where you are in the song there. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that part of the verse together first of all. Okay, so we're going to go from bar 5, the start of the verse, to the end of the first page, so the end of bar 20. Okay, so just to get that first section of the verse flowing, okay? Get that groove flowing. So obviously, like I said, you've got a 1-bar groove with just slight variations. You want to make sure you're comfortable with all of those variations. Get them down individually, and then link them up. Okay, make sure you can change between them. So a skill in that first groove is being able to play different embellishments of the ghost note. Okay, just playing a normal stroke, also a buzz stroke. Okay, so it's being able to play both in the same bar and being able to comfortably change between both a normal ghost stroke and a buzzed ghost stroke. Okay, and obviously you've got the bass drum playing the app too as well. Okay, there's slight variations. So just make sure you're good with all of those. And then we're going to put it all together, okay? And looking at bar 5, the first bar of the verse, you can see we come in with a crash on the 1. Okay, just to accentuate the start of the verse. So we're going to put that in as well. We're going to play at the song tempo, 75 beats per minute. So again, slow medium, so just hang at that tempo. Don't drag, don't push it. Just try and really find that tempo, okay? So let's try and put that together now. Bars 5 to 20. And now we'll try that with a backing track. Okay, so again, just to remind you, it's soulful rock. So you've got that big rock groove. Keep it solid. Okay, but the soulful side of it, make sure you put your soul into the music, a lot of feel and emotion. So really portray that when you play the groove. Don't just play the notes. Okay, get the notes down, put the feel into the groove. Okay, so make sure you can feel that soulfulness in this piece. Okay, so really be conscious of that when you play it. Remember, we aren't playing notes, we're playing music. All right, so use the notes to play the right drums in the right rhythm, but then use your internal feel to make the groove sound right for this song. Okay, bring the right emotion for the music to the groove. Okay, so make sure you're doing that with the backing track. Let's try bars 5 to 20.
You do something to me, something deep inside. I'm hanging on the wire for a love I'll never find. You do something wonderful, then chase it all away, mixing my emotions that throws me back again, hanging on the wire, yeah.
So we increase the dynamic to Forte at the end of bar 20, and now we come into bar 21, okay, where we stay at Forte, the energy of the track rises, okay, so we're at loud. We crash into a 1 bar groove, and it's a very similar 1 bar groove to what we've been playing in the verse so far, but we've got an added 16th note on the E of 3, okay, so another ghost note playing in between those 8th notes on the ride cymbal. Okay, we've got the buzz stroke on the at of 4. Okay, so that ghost note's playing a buzz on the last stroke. So that bar 21, sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so get that down. Make sure you're comfortable with that 16th note bass, 16th note snare drum on the E of 3 there. And then in the next bar, we've got the same sticking pattern with the hands. Okay, so we've still got that snare drum playing the E of 3 in the next bar as well, and we got that buzz stroke on the at 4. The only difference is with those 2 bars is in the first bar of those 2, bar 21, we're crashing in to start the groove. Okay, so we're crashing into the Forte section, and in the next bar, same groove but no crash on the 1. All right, then we come into the next bar where we're carrying on with that groove for the first half of the bar. So we got 1 and 2 and we got 3 and, so bass drum playing the 3 and the end of 3, just like we've been doing with this groove. There's no snare drum on the E of 3 there. And then on the 4th beat, we hit the backbeat on 4, and now we've changed the rhythm to 8th note triplets for the 4th beat. So you got downbeat on the 4, snare and ride cymbal, and then we play crash and bass on the triplet and the triplet So that'd be 4 and Okay, so you can hit the same crash if you want. So we got, or if you've got 2 crashes, you can hit, you can go between the 2. You could do right left, so you can play, or you can play left right. Okay, so that bar now, so we'll go for that whole bar 23, sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So make sure you're comfortable with that rhythm change into the 8th note triplets on the 4th beat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Okay, so really be good with that rhythm change. Make sure you can count it. So remember, 8th note triplets, 3 evenly spaced notes per beat. Okay, so next line, we go back to that same groove that you were playing in bars 21 and 22 with that extra snare drum on the E of 3 and the buzz stroke buzz ghost note on the A4. We've got a 1 bar repeat there, so in bar 25, so you play bar 24 again. And then in the next bar, we change it up, so you're back to those quarter notes on the ride cymbal that we had in the intro. So we got 1, 2, 3, and then a crash on the 4. Okay, no bass drum on the crash. So don't be tempted to play that bass drum on the crash there. So that bar is... Okay, and beneath that bar, we've got MF, which is short for mezzo forte. So we're back to half loud. So we need a dynamic change there. Okay, so we're going to play bars 25 and 26 just to get the dynamic change in. But also, we've got the buzz stroke on the end of bar 25 on the A4. And then we've got to make sure we go into the ride cymbal on the 1. Okay, so we're buzz stroking at the end of bar 25, straight on the ride for the downbeat of 1. Okay, so 25 and 26 sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so get comfortable with that. And then in the next bar, which is bar 27, we've got crash and bass on the 1. Then we've got a ride cymbal on the 2, so both quarter notes there. So we've got 1, 2, 8th note rest on a downbeat of 3, and then we've got a flam on the medium tom on the upbeat of 3, that and of 3. So you can play a left or right flam on the medium tom there. And then we've got a 16th rest on the downbeat of 4. We've got a ghost note floor tom on the E of 4, and then a normal stroke on the floor tom on the and of 4. So you've got E and. So those two beats, beats 3 and 4, are rest and rest E and. So flam on medium tom, ghost, then normal stroke on the floor tom. So those two beats, 1, 2. Okay, so putting that bar together now, bar 27, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that brings us to the end of the verse. So that double bar line brings us to the end of the section there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to try those 2 lines, the forte section of the verse, so bars 21 to 27. Okay, those 2 lines. So keep the dynamic up, so keep the energy up, and make sure the dynamic goes back down to mezzo forte when you come into bar 26. Okay, so let's try that now. Keep the energy high. Let's try that with the metronome at song tempo 75 beats per minute. And now we'll try those 2 lines in time with a backing track. Okay, so energy high and also that rhythm change, so playing those 8th note triplets on the 4th beat of bar 23. Make sure that's really precise because they're hits with the band. Okay, so that rhythm's got to be really tight, that rhythm change to the 8th note triplet. So make sure you're good with that. And then make sure you crash into bar 24 as well. So you've got the 2 crashes on the triplets on the and the a of bar 23, and then we crash at the start of bar 24 as well there. So you've got 3 crashes in a row. So if you're alternating your hands, you can play left, right, or right, left, right, or just use one hand if you want, right, right, right. Okay, so just to show you that change, so bars 23 and 24, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, or you can go right, start with the crash, 3, 4. Or one-handed with the crashes, 3, 4. Okay, if you've got 2 crashes, I encourage you to use 2 hands for those crashes. Just changes up the sound and also just develops that skill of being comfortable crashing with both hands, okay? So let's give that a try now, those 2 lines in time with the backing track. So now we come into the next section of the song, which is the guitar solo, which starts at bar 28. So for the guitar solo, we've got a 1-bar groove, and it's the same groove we just played in that forte section of the verse. So the groove with the extra 16th note on the E of 3. Okay, and we've also still got that buzz stroke on the at 4. Okay, so just to remind you of that groove, we've got 3, 4. Okay, so the only difference is you're back to mezzo forte for this groove. Okay, so obviously in the previous section you were playing it a bit louder. So it's the same groove, just a lower dynamic. And then we've got slash notation, so we've got freedom to improvise or embellish the groove. And we've got cont sim above the first bar of slash notation in bar 29. So short for continua simile, which means continue in a similar way. So although you've got freedom to improvise, don't just play whatever you want. You've got to make sure it's a similar groove. Okay, so they've set the theme by giving you a 1-bar groove there, and they're saying, right, go on, play what you like, play what you like, but within reason. So you want it to be similar to this groove we've given you. Okay, so you can embellish it a little bit, maybe change up the ghost notes, add occasional buzzes, all right, but make sure the sort of fundamental of the groove stays there. So with that 8th note feel on the cymbal, and also that bass drum rhythm on the 1 and the 3 and the end of 3. So boom, da, boom, boom, da. So this core, that's the core part of the groove that needs to stay there, okay? And you can embellish it around that, okay, for the slash notation. So we've got 6 bars of slash notation there, and then we come into bar 35, where we're playing the same thing that we did at the end of the mezzo forte section of the verse, which was bar 20. Okay, so that same fill. We've got 1 E and a crash, and a 3 and a 4 E and. Okay, just to remind you of that bar, 3, 4. All right, so you want to practice going into that from the guitar solo groove. So we got 3, 4. All right, so try 1 bar of each to make sure you've got the nice transition from one to the other. Okay, and that brings us to the end of the guitar solo. So you've got the double bar line there. Telling you it's the end of the section. Okay, so we're going to put that guitar solo together now. All right, so bars 28 to bar 35. So as it's a guitar solo, we're supporting the guitar soloist. Okay, so we need a rock steady groove underneath that guitar solo. Okay, so just make sure you're giving the guitar solo that platform, that foundation to play on top of. Okay, so you don't want to steal his limelight or her limelight, okay, by playing fancy stuff over the top. You want to keep a solid groove, okay, for the guitar soloist. Okay, so just make sure you got that in mind as you're playing this section. So let's try putting that together now. And now we'll try the guitar solo section in time with the backing track. Okay, so like I said before, make sure you're supporting the guitar soloist, but also you need to complement the feel that they're giving. Okay, so if they're climaxing, okay, you need to make sure you're helping them with that feel on the drum. So maybe the occasional crash when you feel that climactic point coming in the solo. Okay, just little things like that just to really support the soloist. So don't just think, I just need to play a groove. You need to really listen to the guitar solo and just support them on their journey that they're giving the listener. Okay, so really support all those little nuances in the guitar solo. Listen out for them. Okay, so that's something else to develop as a musician to support the music. Okay, so let's try guitar solo section in time with the backing track. And above the final bar of the guitar solo section, so bar 35, it says DSL Coda, which is short for Del Segno al Coda, which sends us back to the sign, which was at the start of bar 21, the Forte section of the verse. Okay, so after we finish playing that guitar solo section, we go back to bar 21. So we go back to the sign, we play through that Forte section again, okay, and then at the end of bar 27, you can see it says to Coda. Okay, so that's going to send us to the coda at the end of the piece. Okay, so let's look at the coda now. So in the coda, we've got that same groove that you played in the Forte section and the guitar solo section, and we're playing it a mezzo forte. Okay, so you can see MF beneath bar 36 there, the first bar of the coda. So we crash into the start of the coda, so that groove that we've already gone through. And then in bar 37, we carry on playing that groove, but again, we change it up in the second half of the bar, so we're bringing things down now. Okay, so we take out the E of 3 snare drum note, and we finish on a quarter note on the 4. So bar 37 sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so putting it back to back with bar 36, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're back to those quarter notes on the ride cymbal. Okay, so in bar 38, just quarter notes on all 4 downbeats. And in bar 39, we've got a drag on the first beat. Okay, so again, left for the grace notes, right for the primary note. Then another bar of quarter notes in bar 40 on the ride cymbal. Then in bar 41, we got 2 more quarter notes on the 1 and a 2 on the ride. And then you can see the tremolo markings through the half note on 3. So the half note's going to last for beats 3 and 4. And the tremolo markings tell us we've got to play a double stroke roll for 2 beats. Okay, so the subdivision can be 16th notes for the 3 and 4. So that'll be... And we want to diddle those notes, so double stroke them. So you got... Okay, and we finish on that ride cymbal on the 1, and we got that tie line coming off the 1 there, just letting us know to let that note ring on the 1. So we're playing double strokes for the 3, so that'd be 8 notes, double strokes for the 4, which would be another 8 notes, that'd be 16 notes, and then we've got that 1 stroke to finish the piece on the downbeat of the final bar, which is bar 42. Okay, so that would be 17 strokes. Okay, so 16 double strokes and then that single stroke to finish. So 1, 2. Alright, so make sure you're comfortable with that double stroke roll to finish the piece. Okay, so just to go through that last line for you, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're going to put that whole coda together now. So bar 36 to the end of the piece. Okay, so let's give that a try at the song tempo. And now we'll try that with a backing track. Okay, so we've just come from a Forte section, nice and loud. We've brought the energy down, and now we're bringing it down even further to finish the song. Okay, so really bring the energy down and keep that soulfulness in your playing. Okay, so let's try the coda now in time with a backing track.
To tell you that you do something to me, something deep inside.
So once you can play through each section individually, you want to make sure you're comfortable transitioning from section to section. So start with just picking 2 sections, so the intro and the verse, and make sure you can transition between those 2 sections comfortably. And then maybe another 2 sections, the verse and the guitar solo, transition between those 2 sections comfortably. Okay, but eventually you want to be able to flow through the whole piece. Okay, so we're going to go through the whole piece now at the song tempo, 75 beats per minute. So make sure you're comfortable at that tempo. You're keeping a really rock solid tempo, so you're not speeding up or slowing down. So as drummers, we need good timekeeping, so really work on that. Just hitting that tempo consistently. We've also got the dynamic changes, so we're going from mezzo forte to forte in this song, so make sure you're really putting those in, okay? And also just make sure you're comfortable with all of the texture, okay, in the grooves. So we come in with those open drags on the ride cymbal, and then we've got those closed drags, so those buzz strokes in the groove, okay? So make sure you're good with all of these little subtleties in the piece. Okay, so let's try it now, flowing through the whole song. And now the final thing to do is put the whole piece in time with the backing track.
You do something to me, something deep inside. I'm hanging on the wire for a love I'll never find. You do something wonderful, then chase it all away, mixing my that throws me back again. Hanging on the wire, yeah. I'm waiting for the change. I'm dancing through the fire just to catch a flame and feel real again. Dancing through the fire, yeah, just to catch a flame, just to get close to, just close enough to tell you that you do something